Greetings, everyone. This is Sister Crystal here with Classic Hip Hop Storage Box. And today we are commemorating the 25th anniversary of the passing of the late, great Tupac Amaru Shakur. Tupac was born Lassane Parish Crooks on June 16th, 1971. His mother, Afeni Shakur, renamed her son Tupac Amaru Shakur when he was about 1 year old. His mom's decision to rename her son Tupac had a huge effect on him while growing up due to the fact that it's a very unique name. Now, I've watched many video clips and documentaries in preparation for this video, and I found very little new information out there about Tupac that hasn't already been said or that I haven't already heard. So I'm really was struggling to try to bring something fresh and new to commemorate this 25th anniversary of Tupac's passing. However, I did find an article from the 1993 issue of Word Up magazine in which he talks about his then new album, Strictly for My Niggaz. The article is entitled, And the Truth Shall Set You Free. It reads, according to Tupac, we ought to be doing more than just talking about freedom and principles. In October 1991, Tupac Shakur filed a $10 million lawsuit against the Oakland Police Department for police brutality. Tupac Shakur charged that he was assaulted by police in downtown Oakland for jaywalking. I had mentioned earlier in this video about Tupac having a unique name. According to reports from Tupac himself, the police began harassing him and taunting him because they did not believe him when he told them that Tupac was his real name. Also, there are videos here on YouTube of Tupac back in 1992 on Live with Tanya Hart. And I actually used to have the video here on the Classic Hip Hop Storage Box, but I had to get rid of all those videos due to copyright. But other people reloaded, re uploaded them, and everything. So feel free to check that out. And Tupac goes into more detail about the police brutality incident. And the article continues. In the spring of 1992, Tupac's name once again hit the headlines. A Texas state trooper was shot by a teenager who was reportedly listening to Two Apocalypse Now. In pre election America, then Vice President Dan Quayle issued a statement that demanded Tupac's album be removed from record stores. Quayle charged that Tupac's anti police sentiments on his album had triggered the shooting, but Tupac's label, Interscope, refused to comply with the demand. No one wants the president of the country you live in to say what he did about me, says Tupac. Rap saved my life, and he was trying to destroy me. I was the one beaten down, and he's calling me a killer. I was scarred. It was like being hunted. He didn't know me. He didn't go to the ghetto to see what's going on. Today, Tupac's rap directives are still as strong on his new album, Strictly for My Niggaz. I didn't branch out into songs about love or basketball, says Tupac. I write about struggle and oppression. If it were a different world, I would write different songs, but I fight the case given to me. His mother, Afeni Shakur, formerly a member of the Black Panthers, was pregnant with him when she was sent to jail, but acting as her own attorney, she pleaded her case and won her freedom. Tupac's godfather is the well known Panther Geronimo Pratt, and his stepfather is Dr. Matulu Shakur. And Tupac's biological father died the day after he got out of prison. The article continues, but in Tupac, the voice of the Panthers still speaks the freedom that we want for our people. Tupac's voice is one which speaks out against police brutality in encouragement of education, respect, and unity, against unchanneled and misdirected violence, the strength of Black women and Black men, and the continuous struggle we must wage if we are to realize those Black Panther goals of freedom. Goals our ancestors verbalized in their slave songs. I'm representing the young Black male, representing my race, says Tupac. I'm standing up for what I believe in. And that is from the June 1993 Word Up magazine article. And what I find very interesting about this is when Tupac only had two albums at the time, and he was just climbing up the charts. And you notice that he's not even on the front cover. Also, in the record review section, Tupac's Strictly for My Niggaz was given a review. It received a 3 stars out of 5. And it goes, a bumpy sophomore effort, this time out for the self proclaimed rebel of the underground. And even this is not entirely his fault. The lyrics are right on the money and get to the point in Tupac's traditional hardcore style, which should certainly please his more avid followers. But the production effort, which was a key factor on his previous debut LP, falls a bit short here despite a few solid showings. Overall, this LP isn't a bad effort at all, but we'll be expecting a lot more from Tupac in the future. And that is a gross understatement. Tupac would go on to sell more than 75 million records worldwide. Sadly, just 3 short years later, Tupac Shakur was shot on September 7th, 1996, in Las Vegas, and on September 13th, 1996, at around 4:04 p.m. West Coast time, Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead from his injuries. Eerily enough, the single I Ain't Mad at Ya and video was released just 2 days after Tupac passed away. The video was filmed earlier that year on May 15th, 1996. The song goes from when he was younger to when he became famous. He speaks of losing touch with people and how many people turned on him after his success. Yet he still maintains that he's got, quote, nothing but love for his old friends, with the hook repeating the line, I ain't mad at ya. And the video was directed by Tupac Shakur himself and Kevin Swain. The music video begins with Tupac and a friend of his, actor Bokeem Woodbine, leaving a hotel party at night. While waiting for someone to arrive, a hooded man comes up, pulls out a handgun, and starts shooting in their direction. As Tupac pushes them out the way, he gets hit by at least one bullet. In the ambulance, his body gives in and he passes away. Upon entering heaven, Tupac is told that they have been waiting for him to come for a long time, yet he still has to earn his way in. As a spirit, he then returns to earth to watch over and guide his friend as he struggles through the next few days. While this is going on, Tupac is shown rapping to his friend who can't see or hear him, trying to offer guidance. Finally, the video concludes with Tupac's friend gaining the courage to give condolences personally to Tupac's widow and daughter. Lookalikes of many deceased entertainers are revealed to be playing at the party, including, among others, Red Fox, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, Nat King Cole, Miles Davis, Marvin Gaye, Billie Holiday, Florence Ballard, Sammy Davis Jr., and Louis Armstrong. Danny Boy is also present in heaven as an angel. In the 25 years since his passing, Tupac's murder is still unsolved. Tupac was only 25 years old. My condolences to the family, friends, and fans of Tupac Amaru Shakur. And 25 years later, his presence is still greatly felt all around the world. and it will continue for eternity. And I do want to say this. So, for many years since Tupac's passing, there have been people, just some controversy about, is Tupac really gone or did he fake his death and all of that stuff. And, I have full respect for people who, whatever your thoughts are or what have you, we can agree to disagree or not. But I will say this. I used to be someone that thought that maybe Tupac had faked his death just because of, the song I Ain't Mad at You came out. And I think like 1 week after he passed away, the album, the Machiavelli 7 Day Theory was released. I'm going by my memory now. And so a lot of this stuff was coincidences. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? But it wasn't until I saw an interview with Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mom, and rest in paradise to her, where an interviewer asked her, "Is your son still alive?" And she looked at him and said, "My son is gone," or something like that. And the way she said it, it's like, you know what? First of all, I was surprised that the journalist or the interviewer was willing to ask such a question. I would have been afraid to ask that type of question, even though, it's out in the streets and all that. But the way she looked at that interviewer, I'm like, you know what? That is his mom. And if she's saying that her son is gone, I believe her. And I'm going to respect that. And, I'm not going to go any further with any type of conspiracy theories or what have you about Tupac might still be alive. Now, I will say this also, there was a show from Dr. Oz earlier this year, and the question was, if technology that we have today was around back in 1996, would Tupac have been able to been saved? And as people may know or may not know, Tupac had lost a finger, he lost a lung. I mean, he had undergone a lot of injuries from the shooting, but he couldn't survive. And it was concluded that even with today's technology, more than likely Tupac would not have survived the injuries that he had because he had some major injuries. So I did want to address that too while we're on the 25th anniversary of Tupac's passing. He's always here in our hearts, even though he's not physically here with us. So I did want to address that. So, what are your favorite memories of Tupac? Do you remember where you were when you got the news that Tupac had passed away? Were you even born yet? So we can talk about that. I remember where I was when I got the news that Tupac had passed away. I actually couldn't believe it because he had held on for so long. But I was living with my baby that was about a year old, and I was living with my aunt. A blurb it came across the television that Tupac had passed away. I'm on the East Coast, so it was around like 9, 10 o'clock at night or something like that in 1996. But yeah, but what do you think? We can discuss it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and rest in paradise, Tupac Shakur.